Hello friends, it's Kathy Clement with Kathy by Design. Welcome to a wonderful Wednesday. This is the second Wednesday in October, so it's time for us to make our banner of the month. And our theme this month is Christmas. Is beginning to look a lot like Christmas. So we're going to make a Christmas banner using Simple Stories, Simple Vintage Yuletide. I love this collection. It's beautifully vintage. It's very traditional with red and green plaids, beautiful woodland scenes, these great, like vintage bells, this gorgeous antique gold, Santa Clauses, all kinds of little tags, wreaths. I did a full reveal of this collection earlier when I showed you what we would be working with this month. This is one of two collections. The other one are from Prima. You can find that on my channel, and I'll put the link in the description box below. So for this wreath, we're going to be using the 12 by 12 and the 6 by 8. I like some of the smaller patterns in the 6 by 8 and some of the larger patterns in the 12 by 12. I also have the ephemera Yuletide Big Bits, and the Simple Vintage Bits and Pieces. So we'll be using those in different places on this banner. We're going to be using 3 different die shapes to create our pennants. This is the Graphic 45. This is the pocket and tag envelope. This is from their embellishments staples. And I die cut this, and then I just cut the little tabs off to make the hangers. They're so pretty. It's got a lovely shape. Then we're going to be using their ATC tag. And then this is an Eileen Hull House Stitchlets die. This is I think it goes Eileen Hull Thinlits House Stitchlets. It's a long title. But these 3 dies are what we use to form our pennants. And then we're going to make our own flowers later on this month. We're going to be making poinsettias are the flower of the month. So I've got some of my handmade poinsettias. And this is made with the Spellbinders layered poinsettia die. And that tutorial will come in the 4th week of this month. So you might want to go ahead and get some of those. I have these Prima. This is from the North Pole. These are like little holly sticks. I've got some beautiful Rene Bouquet red roses. I've created some leaves with Heartfelt Creations leafy accents. I've created some little accent flowers with these Susan's Garden, Spellbinders nasturtiums, and then Susan's Garden Winter Evergreen. And I don't think we use that one on this banner, so we're good. These are the little nasturtiums we'll be making. These just make a gorgeous Christmas accent flower, and I will show you how to make these in the Flower of the Month tutorial. We also have some Rene Bouquet's Christmas Printed Beautiful board. I've got these really darling vintage children who are going ice skating or to play hockey. I've got this lovely Christmas wreath and this precious little sledding party with the dog and the little girls. And then these are Rene Bouquet's laser cut Victorian snowflakes. We're going to use these in between our pennants, and then just as accent pieces, I have these first snowflakes that I have embossed with clear embossing powder and heat embossed with a sparkle embossing. So now that you know the basics, I'm going to talk about how I put my pennant together. Let me move some of these things aside. Last month in September, I did a start to finish tutorial for how I put my banners together. So this will just be a quick overview. I start by die cutting my base out of cardstock. And then I cut out my patterned paper and trim the sides to fit. For a shaped piece, like this ATC and this tag pocket, you can see how pretty this turns out. I don't bother cutting the bottom. I let the die do that. I trim off the sides, round out the corners, and I trim off the top. And then it fits perfectly onto the die cut cardstock base. And I do the same thing over here for my ATC tag, I trim the side and the top, and then the base fits the way it's supposed to. So it's just easier that way. I always stitch my pennants onto ribbon. I start in the center. I use these little clamps to hold them in place, and then I just eyeball it. You could use a ruler if you wanted to get the distance between even all along the way. And then I lay my lace over the top. I take it to my sewing machine and I stitch across the top. And I also stitch across the bottom of the ribbon because it keeps the banner from doing that weird flip up thing that banners tend to do when they're hanging. So that's the basics. Like I said, you can go back to the September tutorial. I will also link that in the description box below so you can watch it from start to finish. But now that you know the basics, we can go ahead and start putting this beautiful banner together.
Laughing all the way, bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and
Let's go ahead and start work on this central pennant. I always like to make this kind of the focal point, and I want to use this gorgeous wreath as a shaker element. So what I've done, I did hit the little mistletoe berries with the little stickles. I adhered some acetate, an acetate sheet to the back, and then 2 rows of 1/8" foam tape. Before we glue that down, we're going to come in with some really beautiful sequins. And I'm just going to kind of scoop some of these out. I have several different ones, so I'm not going to use a ton of any one kind. These are from Buttons Galore and More. I think you can still get them. They're called, hold on, Homespun Holiday. Homespun Holiday. And I'll link to all of these in the supply list on my blog, and I will link to my blog in the description box below this video. So I always like to turn the sparkly bits and the little beads face up so that you get the maximum sparkle. These are doodads. I love these because they're lightweight, but they're super sparkly. And I'm going to put some of these in because it's always nice to have some white elements in any kind of a winter or Christmas project. Okay. And then I also have these green doodads. And I have these Merry Mimosa doodads. These have a touch of gold in them, which is very, very pretty. All right, I'm not putting any sort of image or anything down into behind our shaker element. So I'm gonna put quite a few of those in. So that's a pretty full shaker mix. I added some gold sequins and some little star sequins. I'm going to make sure everything is tucked like inside here, because if your sequins get stuck to the back of your foam tape, your shaker will leak, and that's always really sad. So I'm just going to push these into the center. I'm going to center this up on my pennant and press it in place like that. So I don't normally fill my shakers that full, but that is the focal element. Now I tied a little string bow with baker's twine. I'm going to put this right here just to add some texture and dimension. I've got these little red, I've got a red jingle bell and a green jingle bell, and one of my itty bitty handmade poinsettias. And I'm going to stick this right here, just like that. That is really pretty. And I think I'm going to go into my stash of flowers and find a few more of these itty bitty poinsettias and glue them around the wreath. I've got a little sentiment from the Bits and Pieces. I'm just going to put it right across the center of our wreath. And then I am going to come in with these little poinsettias, like maybe one right there.
Sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle
As you can see, I've adhered my snowflakes and buttons in between each pennant. These are just vintage buttons I had in my stash. I want to start right here with the pennants that are on either side of our central pennant, and these are some of those ephemera bits. I've added chipboard to the back, and we're just going to adhere these and create some nice layers. This is that Renee Bouquet's Printed Beautiful board, and I will link to all of these in my blog post, and you can find the link to my blog post in the description box below. We're just creating some nice layer and dimension here. I've got one of these first snowflakes that I'm going to tuck right into this corner. And that takes care of that one. And then let's come over here and get the one on the other side. Make sure you can see. Yep. All right. So this is another ephemera piece. And I'm going to put this down right about here. Then this is another little ephemera bit. I just want to create some layers here, like this. I want my snowflake to go right here, that nice little bit of sparkle. And then here's our Printed Beautiful board. It's like these vintage Printed Beautiful board pieces are such a perfect pairing for this collection. They just work together so well. And on this one, let's see, take that out. I'm going to put a poinsettia right here. Just like that, to kind of tie everything together. Okay, and then I'm going to come back down this way. Whoops. And let's take a smaller poinsettia and put it right here. Or how about over here on the side? I like that. Just add those bright pops of color. They're so pretty. Okay.
jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
So that brings us to this one. And this is just a die-cut star. I'm going to put some adhesive on this. Glue this down right here. And then another little ephemera bit in the center of that star. And then these are those holly corners. I think where I want to put these. I don't think I'm actually going to use these this time. They're so pretty. I want them to stand out. But I am going to take one of our beautiful poinsettias and glue it down right here. That's really pretty. Okay, that brings us down here. I'll get some hot glue there. So I've got this piece. So you can see this really is pretty much simple layers. This is another Rene Bouquet's beautiful board. And this one is super delicate, so I always put a piece on this holly down at the bottom so that even if this part breaks, it will still stay in place. And I want a poinsettia. Let's see, I think right there. Beautiful.
Day or two ago, thought I'd take a ride. Soon Miss Fanny Bright was seated by my side.
Down here on the end, this little pennant. I've done the same thing. I'm going to put a piece of chipboard back there. This is going to go here. Snowflake's going to go right here. And then let's bring in one of these smaller. And I'll put some charms through the little grommets like I usually do. And this is our last one. Here's our little postage stamp. Going this direction. There's Snowflake right there. All right, super easy, right? Okay, let me clear space and we'll come back and move on to the next step.
Misfortune seemed his lot. He got into a drift.
You can see over here I've added jingle bells to the bottom of our little tag, one of my nasturtiums, and a little green rose from Rene Bouquet's. I'm just going to go ahead and finish decorating these panels while you watch and listen to some pretty music.
And we got upset. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. In a one-horse open sleigh.
All right, friends, you can see I finished my little bow cluster down on this end. And now we're going to go to work on it down on this end. So let me just shift this. This is a big banner. There we go. Make sure I'm in frame. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a length of seam binding ribbon. This is about 20 inches long, and this is just an ivory. I decided it looked the best with these vintage colors, and it's got a nice little sheen. And I'm going to tie just a simple tie. It's not even a knot. It's just tying it around our ribbon and lace. I'm going to get my tails going the direction that I want them to go. And then I've tied a 3-inch bow with this beautiful Christmas plaid. I like this because it brings in all the colors of this collection, and it's just, I don't know, it just works. I looked at a lot of different ribbons and then decided this was the one. So I'm going to find my knot. I'm going to put my adhesive not on the knot, but right beside the knot. And my ribbon goes down with the tails up, okay? Get my scissors to hold that in place because that's hot. And you can always come back in, you know, while that glue is setting, and you can fuss the bow a little bit. All right. Okay, now I've got these rusty jingle bells that I'm going to put right on top of my knot. I'm going to bring in my holly berries, and I'm going to kind of tuck them in here with this cluster. And I'm going to take a little bit of hot glue and put it right here. Then my poinsettia. Just like this. See how pretty? I love this. Oops, I forgot my gold bow. Hold on. Tuck this in. Then the poinsettia. Oops. Now I have a glue web. Okay. Put a little more hot glue down just to make sure that that's going to stay. There we go. There we go. All right. That looks good. And once everything sets up, I'll go back in and fuss the bow again a little bit. I'm going to take one of my little nasturtiums, tuck it in. It's tricky. There we go, right in there. That is really beautiful. So there you go. This is our banner of the month for October, Simple Stories Yuletide. Beautifully vintage. I'm not going to move it because that glue hasn't set, so I don't want to mess it up, but there will be a photo array at the end, and a linked supply list on my blog, and a link to my blog in the description box. I'll be back next week with our birthday card of the month for October, which will of course be Christmas themed. Use Christmas papers. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Let me hear from you in the comments below. I'm looking for ideas for 2025. What would you like to see on Wonderful Wednesday? And oh, real quick before I forget, so many of you asked about if we were okay here in North Carolina after the hurricane, and the answer is yes. Our part of North Carolina was not badly affected. We had lots of rain. and blustery winds, just normal big storm stuff. We didn't even lose power. So we are high and dry. We have electricity. Everything is good. Thank you for your concern and your prayers. Y'all are so sweet. I really appreciate you. And that is it for me, Kathy Clement with Kathy by Design. Go get your craft done. Bye, friends.
Thought I'd take a ride. Stood Miss Fanny Bright was seated by my side. The horse was lean and lank. Misfortune seemed his lot. He got into a drifty bank, and we got upset. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. In a one-horse open